Hello and welcome to this Electrical Principles training video. In this video we're going to answer a question that's come in from a viewer, and it's a question that I just absolutely love, and it's one that I wanted to do as a video because it kind of combines different elements of electrical science that we've looked at in other videos and puts them into kind of a real practical working example of why these electrical principles are so very, very important. So the question that's come in, and it's coming from Sam. She asks, I have a motor at 230 volt supply that takes 45 amps. Twin aluminium conductors 40 meters long with a cross-sectional area of 16 millimeters squared. We have to take the resistivity of aluminium as 2.65 times 10 to the minus 8. It wants us to find the voltage at the terminals of the motor. I'm not sure how to do this, but I was wondering if I do the resistivity equation and then apply Ohm's law and subtract that from the supply voltage. So you're very much on the right track, Sam, but there's just kind of a couple of things that we need to think about here. Now, as I say, I really love this question. I think the reason I love it so much is that it takes some important principles and it helps us to use them in a real life example. So you can see here we've got the situation that's described in the question here. We've got a load here that's coming from a supply, a certain voltage. It's passing down these conductors and it's passing through the load and back down the circuit again, and we want to know what the volt drop is across here, because if the volt drop is too high, then certain loads won't work properly. They won't work to their kind of full potential, which obviously we want to try and make sure that they do. Now, the thing to bear in mind with this is that we tend to think of conductors as just carrying the electricity from the supply to the load, and that's their job done. However, any conductor, however good it is as a conductor, always has a certain amount of resistance. So what we can do is we can replace those conductors with resistor symbols like this. So we can just pop these in here like so, and there you can see we've actually got the resistor here, which now represents the resistance of the supply conductor here. So this is probably the line conductor at the top, and that represents the resistance of that line conductor. Likewise, at the bottom, we're also going to have a certain amount of resistance within that conductor, and if they're of equal length and the same size and the same material, then these two resistors will be of equal value. Now, it's normally at this point that learners kind of say, whoa, where have these resistors come from? We don't go wiring resistors into our circuits in the real world. Well, not in the sense that you normally think of a resistor as being a little electronic component that perhaps you've got from RS, but actually you do connect a resistor into the circuit because that is the resistance of the supply conductor. So we can see we've got that represented there. Now, when we step back and look at this perhaps in a little bit more detail now, you can see that we've actually got three resistors in the circuit. We've got the resistance of the line conductor, the resistance of the load, and the resistance of the neutral conductor, and all of those are going to contribute to the way that this circuit operates. So, that being the question, how can we kind of help to visualize this? Because very often learners kind of struggle to see that this is three resistors connected in series with each other. We may be, perhaps as learners, we may be a little bit more used to seeing circuits that are connected up maybe a little bit like this. So you've got a resistor connected to another resistor like that, and then another one connected like that. So you can see there now we've got three resistors all connected in series with each other. And we can complete the circuit by just popping these conductors in here. So again, we're going to assume that these don't have any resistance, these bits, because we're just looking at this from a kind of mathematical point of view now. So there we go. We've got our circuit perhaps connected up a little bit more how we used to seeing it, maybe in our worksheets, maybe in our assessment papers. So there we go. We've got our three resistors connected in series, but we're still in the exact same situation we were in before. We've got the resistance of the line conductor, the resistance of the load, and the resistance of the neutral conductor. So what do we do now? Well, now we start to add some numbers into the circuit. So let's do just that. Let's have a look at the numbers that Sam gave us in her question. So we've got a motor at 230 volts supply that takes 45 amps. So we know that there is 45 amps flowing through the circuit here. So we know that I is equal to 45 amperes. We also know that we've got a supply voltage down here. The voltage there is 230 volts, like that. So that's our supply voltage. What else do we know? We also know, we don't yet know the resistance of any of these resistor values, but that's okay because we can figure these ones out. So remember, this is the resistance of the line conductor, this is the resistance of the neutral, they'll be the same, and we can actually calculate that. So let's do that. Let's figure out what the resistance of this resistor is here. So in order to calculate the resistance of a conductor based on its resistivity, cross-sectional area and length, we use this formula. And again, if this is the first time you're seeing this, then I suggest you go and watch the video that I've made, in fact the series of videos that I've made on resistance and resistivity. So we've got rho times L over A. Resistivity times length divided by cross-sectional area. So we put some numbers in here, we can figure this out. We know that the resistivity of the material from the question is 2.65 times 10 to the minus 8. So we've got 2.65 times 10 to the minus 8. So that's the resistivity of aluminium as given in this question. And then we've also got the length of the conductors. So that's 40 meters. Now, again, the question isn't incredibly explicit about this, but it says the conductors are 40 meters long, which makes me think that it's a 40 meter long twin cable. So we'll assume that the length there is 40 meters. And then the cross-sectional area of the conductor is 16 millimeters squared. Now this is an interesting one because normally where we see 16 millimeters, normally with millimeters we do times 10 to the minus 3. But because this is millimeters squared, we're going to do times 10 to the minus 6. Okay, and all we've got to do now is just volley that into the calculator. So we're going to do 2.65, 2.65. So I like to press the fraction button in order to put it just as it is on the whiteboard here. 2.65, use the times 10 to the power of button down at the bottom, minus 8, and then we're going to times that by 40, and then we're going to divide that by 16 times 10 to the minus 6 and see what we get. So we come out there with 0.06625. So we've got 0.06625 ohms, which is an incredibly precise number there that we've got there. Okay, so that's the 5 decimal points. Again, I didn't see anything in the question about decimal points, so we'll just use the whole thing for now. So we now know that this resistor has a resistance of, so we'll call this R1, has a resistance of 0.06625 ohms, which is super helpful. But we also know that this resistor has a resistance of the same value. So we'll call this resistor 3 is equal to 0.06625 ohms as well. And I can squeeze the ohms on that one, so that's handy. So there we go. So that's the resistance of that one and the resistance of that one. So again, just reread the question carefully. The question wants us to find the voltage at the terminals of the motor. So in other words, we want to know what is the voltage across here? What's the voltage across that? Well, again, hopefully we can figure this out without too much aggro. We want to know what is the voltage going to be across this load here. So we want to know what's the voltage going to be there. So here's our voltmeter, bring that in. I want to know what's the voltage across there. So that's the question that we're aiming for. What's the voltage there? The easiest way to figure this out at this stage is to figure out what the volt drop is across each of these and then simply take those voltages away from our total voltage, and that will tell us what the voltage across the terminals of our motor is. So remember, this load here simply represents the motor. Okay, so let's have a look at calculating what the volt drop is across this resistor. Okay, so what's the voltage across here going to be? So we'll just show our voltmeter there, just so that we're being super accurate. So we want to know what is the volt drop across this little fella here going to be. We'll figure that out. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to use a little bit of Ohm's law, as Sam initially suggested in her question. So Ohm's law, we remember it as I equals V over R. I'm very specific about that when I'm teaching that. That's how I like learners to remember this, because this is the real life representation of what we do in a circuit. But here we want to make V the subject. So the easiest way of doing that is to think, right, at the minute I've got V, I'm dividing it by R. The opposite of dividing by R is to times by R. And if I times both sides by R, it cancels down on this side and appears over here. So it ends up looking like this. I times R equals V. But that's not a very nice way round of writing it. So we'll write it the right way round, which is like that. V equals I times R, like that. So 45 amps is flowing through this part of the circuit. It's a series circuit, so we know that the current is constant throughout the whole circuit. So there's 45 amps flowing through this resistor, 45 amps flowing through this resistor, and 45 amps flowing through this resistor. So what that means is that we're going to be able to calculate what the volt drop is across here, because there must be a voltage across this resistor that is capable of pushing 45 amps through that resistor. Remember, it's a very, very small value because it represents the supply conductor to the load. So therefore it's going to have a very, very low resistance, as you can see there. So all we've got to do now is just put our numbers in. So the current is constant, so we're just going to use that 45 amps that is everywhere in this series circuit. Wherever we measure it, we'd get 45 amps. And then we're just going to times it by this resistance here. So we're going to times that by 0.06625, and that's going to give us our answer. So we've got 45 times 0.06625, and that gives us an answer of 2.98. Again, we've got 125 volts, but I think we'd probably be okay to round this off to 2 decimal places. So we've got 2.98 volts. So the voltage across this resistor here, which bear in mind represents the supply conductor, is equal to 2.98 volts. So in other words, we're losing 2.98 volts across this resistor here. We're going to lose exactly the same amount of resistance across, exactly the same amount of voltage across this resistor here, because it's got the same value as that one. So what that means is that we're going to end up simply adding these two values together. So we've got a volt drop here of 2.98 volts. We've got a volt drop here of 2.98 volts. If we just add those two values together, so we've got 2.98, and we're going to times that by 2 because we're just adding the voltage here and the voltage here together, which is going to give us 5.96 volts. And that is the volt drop across this circuit. So we're losing 2.98 here, 2.98 here, which gives us a total volt drop for this circuit of 5.96 volts. And when you do your volt drop calculation for a real circuit that you're installing, this is essentially what you're doing. This bit's simplified a little bit by the values in the on-site guide for the different resistances of different copper sizes. That kind of makes it a little bit easier for you, but it's the exact same principle that we're looking at. So now to calculate the total voltage across the motor here, so we'll call this, I don't know, we'll call that V, let's say M for motor. We're going to say that that is equal to 230 volts, the supply voltage, minus the 5.96 volts that we got across the motor there. So 230 minus 5.96 is going to give us, I'll do this in my head real quick so I'll probably get this wrong, 224.04 volts. And there's your answer. The volt drop across the motor is 224.04 volts. That is the voltage that you would get at the terminal of that motor if you were to measure that value with a voltmeter. So, as you can see, I hope you can understand why I like that question so much, because it combines Ohm's law, resistivity equations, and puts it into a real life setting. I think that's an absolutely fantastic question, and quite a good practice one to have a little go at and see if you can get to the same value. So that's how we do that calculation, and all that remains in this video is to say thank you very much for watching.